Restart coming with 29 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500. Our telecast presented by Firestone. Max Chilton is the leader. And one of the storylines starting the day was the Honda versus Chevrolet manufacturer fight. These manufacturers pour their hearts and souls, and not to mention millions of dollars, into competing and trying to win the Indianapolis 500. Honda has had a lot of the time out in front in the lead today and all of the month the headlines, but there has been a little bit of a reliability issue, that a price to be paid for that extra oomph under the engine cover.
And there's always a risk when you put that extra oomph in, and obviously the endurance here is paying a price for it. But we have quite a few Hondas left, and we have 30 laps to go.
That's right. Max Chilton, the leader, starts to accelerate. Green flag with 29 laps to go. There's Castroneves.
Oh!
Slicing and dicing.
Yep, all that courtesy passing is out of the window right now. That was a very aggressive, I'm not going to take no as an answer pass.
No, some people are thinking about maybe looking at the grass right now.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Alonso is all the way back in 9th position.
Well, this is what we talked about, Eddie. When you get to the last 20, 30 laps of this race, the race changes, the complexion changes, the pace picks up. We walk right along there for a second with Elio. You can see what his vantage point is. Now, looking forward to the 19 of Ed Jones. What a great job he's done here this month.
Absolutely. The 22-year-old, originally from England, now living in Dubai, been there for some time. In his first try at the Indy 500, just gets passed by the four-time, or the guy trying to win it for
on the outside. On the outside, going into 3.
But a smart move by Ed Jones, because he knew that he was going to get past, didn't try to make it confrontational, and just sits back and learns, and maybe has a shot at him coming down to turn 1.
Now, here's somebody else climbing back into the picture. That blue and white car is Takuma Sato. Remember, Sato was up fighting for the lead earlier in the race. They dropped the wheel nut on a pit stop. He went all the way back to 16th and has had a hard time digging out of that hole all race long, especially through all the caution flags we've had. Here he is in 4th.
And Sato is one of those drivers, Scott, that is fearless. You put him in that position that he was in with Frank Keedy.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to back off the second time.
There's Fernando Alonso picking up a spot on James Davison.
I've been watching this battle between Fernando Alonso and Tony Kanaan, who sits just ahead of him. He's not been able to find a way around.
Oh, Castroneves holds on. And Ed Jones.
Side by side, that's so difficult. Folks, that's at about 215 to 18 miles an hour in the middle of the turn.
Perfect driving by Jones and Castroneves. And now here comes another player.
That's Sato.
That's Sato. Remember we said the courtesy goes out the window?
And Oriol Servia takes advantage of Sato having to check up. And the veteran from Spain has got it wheeling in the closing laps.
Everybody in the top 10 thinks they have a chance at winning this, and they do. Fernando's got to start passing cars.
Ooh, Simon Pagenaud took a peek inside. And that checkup is going to cost him a spot. There goes Juan Pablo Montoya in the 22 around Pagenaud in that Neon 1 car.
In turning into turn 2, which is probably one of the most difficult passes you can make.
Sato and Servia. Takuma back to 4th.
Sato has Castroneves in his sights.
Eddie, you know this part of the race. This is where you grab the steering wheel just a little bit tighter. You're more reluctant to take your foot off the gas. And this is the battles that we see right now.
Alonso outside of turn 1.
Whoa, that was magnificent.
And he's going outside of turn. No, he doesn't. He calls it a day.
Well, that will kill his speed a little bit by trying to make that extra pass. We'll see if he gets past going down the straight now.
And Chilton continues to lead. Sato is all over Castroneves.
These last laps have been averaging just over 220 miles an hour.
Now Castroneves is trying to pass the car ahead of him, but he has Sato all over him, so he doesn't know whether to drive defensively or offensively.
Amazed how they all snake down to cover that inside line, going down to the grass.
Must be impressed with the job that Ed Jones has done in that 19 car, fighting these veterans. Here comes Castroneves to his outside. He's got to run this time, but last time Jones fought him on the inside.
Hey, they're both committed. And Castroneves makes it around him.
Takuma Sato.
Amazing Sato.
Castroneves has to grab a hold of Sato's draft.
Sato closing in on Chilton for the race lead. Kanaan and Alonso.
Alonso finally finds the secret.
Oh, Montoya with a run on Davison, who checked up to avoid Kanaan.
This is no time for trying passes. You have to commit to every pass that you try.
Here's Sato looking outside. Yellow flag, car in trouble. It's Alonso.
Alonso's engine is broken.
Stop, man.
Well,
So sorry, man.
You can feel the frustration from here.
And that was team owner Michael Andretti on the radio. So sorry, man.
I would say this as he unfastens. He acquitted himself very well in his first try at the Indy 500.
In the car and out of the car.
Yes. He had to do a lot of things that a Formula One driver's not used to doing, publicity-wise and so on, and he did it.
Listen to the public. That is a racer. He put all of his Formula One prestige on the line and came and raced it here at Indy and gave it one heck of a run.
Fernando Alonso today has had the fastest average lap time in the race.
It's not shocking.
Trying to outside move, almost got that completed.
Closing on you.
Down the back stretch.
On your box, looking on the outside. Could be looking, gonna pop. Outside, 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 outside. Clear, clear.
Great information from the spotter there. Onto the front stretch, and let's listen. This is where it happens.
No warning.
Here's the DSL lane here.
Well, not the walk he hoped to be taking, but again, really impressed with the pace, with the execution, with the attitude, with the openness that Fernando Alonso has shown here at Indianapolis.
Everybody in the grandstands hopes he comes back again. A true champion.
All right, so here we are with 19 laps to go now. The driver running first and the driver running second
have Hondas.
both have the same thing under the engine cover as the ones that have had difficulty.
And the next one behind him is a fellow called Helio Castroneves.
Looking for his 4th win in the 500.
He has been trying to do it for 8 Indy 500s.
Now here's the thing about the Chevy Honda thing, right? They got a lot of engines in this race. They're not all going to go. And these two at the front might be the two that don't. I mean, think about the odds and the numbers. Let's not make it out to be that, you know, I mean, they've had a couple of problems with a step up in performance. These cars were all leading or contending for the lead in the race when they've had problems. But somebody's going to make it.
With engines like these that are pure thoroughbred race engines, when you gain 10 horsepower, there's always a price someplace you have to pay. And it's unfortunate it happened right in the middle of the Indy 500. What a beautiful circuit.
So the 1 to go signal being given now, and that means we'll restart with 17 laps to go in this 500. One of the stories of the race at this point, Ryan Hunter-Reay running 3rd at the time. Had a chance to win. Charlie Kimball running up front. And now Fernando Alonso.
This remains the hardest 500 miles a race engine will ever run.
So you look at the fact that there are still a lot of Honda badged cars up in this top 10, and like I said, I'm coming back to my odds thing, and you know, yep, they've had a few failures, but they still have the variety, the majority of the top 10 at this point, and they're not all going to go. Max Chilton is the race leader.
And we're probably okay to the end, but we don't know for sure until we've run a bit. We might need to do a hair of fuel saving. Everyone's in the same boat. So just go as fast as you can. There's 19 laps to go, and it's the Indy 500.
Go for it.
I completely agree. It's all or nothing.
17 laps to go. Green flag, and they get right after it. Jones to the outside of Sato. He gives way. Oh, trouble! Into the wall! And many more involved. James Hinchcliffe, Will Power, James Davison, Oriol Servia.
Boy, we've said this a few times today, yellow breed yellows, and when you come closer to the end, nobody's going to give an inch on the racetrack, and just one small amount of contact doesn't take much before it starts something like this.
I'd like to add one thing.
You're having a good ride today, James. We're proud of you. We're proud of you. We were proud to race with you today.
I'd like to add one thing. We're always talking about saving fuel. Every lap that is under yellow is that much more of a chance, Alan, for a Honda engine that might be close to the limit of making it.
There's Oriol Servia extracting himself from his car. Boy, what a great drive he had today. Joseph Newgarden looking for a push start. I don't believe he hit anything, just spun around to avoid piling in. There's Will Power out of his car. So a big mess in turns 1 and 2 has collected 4 cars and a 5th spun.
There's the contact right there that starts. It looks like Oriol Servia right down on the white line. And just at that point in time starts to lose control, and you see the 18 of James Davidson getting taken out at the same time. I mean, both those guys just in this event for the one race, both did a tremendous job here today. But we talk about as you get closer to the end, restarts or competing Eddie, you know, I've talked about this before because we've raced so many of these races. You don't give an inch anytime you go into a turn, and that's exactly what the result was here.
And that was literally a question of probably 5-6 inches.
Did you see how that rear wheel guard came across the top of Servia's car?
Yeah.
Wow.
Just in front of the cockpit.
That's about $1 million of damage going by on the screen. Now the drivers that are behind have literally nowhere to go, and they can't even see where they're going.
Stuck through there.
He really does. I saw that in the previous one. Always seems to find a perfect way to get through it.
Joseph Newgarden. Take it back. He did hit something.
But it looked like it's even, and it's on the left-hand side. 5.
James Hinchcliffe. CK here.
Oh, so much experience. Out of it, bails out of it. He should have been involved in that, but his experience, he took his foot off the gas.
Will Power.
Yellow, 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 yellow.
You see, everybody takes their hands off the steering wheel there. Oh. As you said, Eddie almost got through there.
Oh.
And that's how loud it is in the car, too, isn't it, when we do that?
So, a lot of cleanup going on over in turn number 2 after a 5-car accident. We're down to 15 laps to go in the Indianapolis 500, and we have a lot to be decided as of yet.